Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Lisa Blaisdell. I want to welcome you to the World Health Summit, and I'm really excited to be speaking with Ryan Sternagel, who he and his wife live in Colorado. Is that correct, Ryan?
Sternagel in Park City, Utah.
Sternagel in Park City, Utah. I was close on both. My apologies. So, Ryan, you and your family's story is really near and dear to my heart as I'm a parent, and I assume a lot of parents are going to be exposed to this interview. And you guys have a story and also a story that no parent wants to experience, which is what's led you to your life's work. And would you mind giving us just a little snapshot of that story with your son and how you got to this journey in this place?
Yeah, no problem. Well, my wife Teddy and I were, it was a little over 4 years now, 4 years ago now, getting into, I wouldn't say getting into, we'd been into the kind of healthy, holistic, whatever you want to call all this that we do, lifestyle, training for marathons and doing CrossFit type stuff and just trying to figure out how we can best nutrify ourselves to perform and all that good stuff, and had our son Ryder, and that's really what got us really thinking about our health, and was when we were starting to think about having a kid and all that stuff, and really thinking what would be the best for him, and that's what got us on the path. And it was about a month before his first birthday, Teddy noticed a lump on his back while she was breastfeeding him. He had to be bent over just right, but it was, I felt it too. It was definitely there. Took him to the doctor. We had a naturopathic pediatrician at the time, and it was concerning to us. And now looking back, there were certainly other red flags as well. And that's one thing that we try to really get out to parents is, don't let stuff get swept under the rug, and really keep asking questions until you're satisfied, because, he had this lump in his back, but he'd also fallen off the growth chart. He was born in something like the 90th percentile at this point. I think he was down maybe in the 20s, somewhere around there. And he pretty much just stopped growing at 6 months. This was, again, a month before his first birthday, and he wasn't crawling. He was hardly, barely even pulling himself up. He had a hard time doing that. Yeah. And he had been kind of standing and putting weight on his legs and all that, and that just went away. So all these things started coming together in our minds. We knew something was wrong, and we kept pressing to get. Finally, we pressed to get referred to a hospital, or someone that could do more diagnostic type stuff, and ended up being a physician's assistant. He took an x-ray, said it looks, didn't see anything other than he was constipated, which was also another red flag, because he had been super, super regular his whole life until that last, couple of weeks. So again, he sent us home. He said, come back in 6 weeks. That wasn't acceptable to us either. Got back in, saw I think it was an orthopedic physician at this point. I wasn't sure why they sent us to an orthopedic, maybe because it was something to do with he wasn't walking or whatever. But finally got them to do an MRI, an ultrasound, which revealed some sort of mass, and now they needed to schedule an MRI to rule anything bad out. And all the while, my wife had been Googling away, and she had come upon neuroblastoma, which is a childhood cancer of the nervous system. Yeah. And she even asked the doctors at that point. She said, from everything I'm seeing, I think this is neuroblastoma. Wow. No. It's not that. We work in the nurse worked in the, oncology ward, and Ryder didn't look like he had neuroblastoma. Got the MRI. That was supposed to take 45 minutes. It took, a good almost 2 hours, I think. Wow. And, it's like 45 minutes goes by, an hour goes by, hour and a quarter goes by, and we just, we knew something was wrong. Yeah. And, they finally came back in. Both the doctor and the nurse were, crying to an extent, and said it's, the tumor, the lump you found was just the tip of the iceberg. He's got a tumor inside of his spinal canal that's bigger than his kidneys, a couple secondaries that all metastasized into the hip bones.
Mm.
And yeah, so that was
Oh, Ryan,
really
gosh.
not.
No, no, but you guys did what you followed your instincts, and I hear these stories and it's just so heartbreaking to me because a lot of parents just kind of go along. Like, what if you had waited 6 more weeks? I mean, you know?
Yeah, no, everyone, including the doctors at the time, but everyone that's seen the scan since that, is that knows what they're looking at, say they're surprised that he's, fast forward, I'll spoil the ending for you. He's
Yeah, yeah,
running
yeah.
around, just fine. He's a happy, almost 5-year-old at this point. He
Ugh,
wouldn't really know anything had ever happened, but yeah, they're all surprised that he's walking around because given that, the MRI, you look down on the I forget what you call the view where it's going straight down, but it's just spine, tumor. And you can't see the spine at all.
gosh.
So yeah,
So
no,
you went home. So you went home with this, really, really heavy diagnosis for your baby, and you had already gone down a little bit of a healthy path. But it sounds like your wife is, brilliant, clearly, and you guys just got to work. And what were they telling you to do, and what did you guys decide to do as parents?
yeah. So it's, they wanted us to do chemotherapy immediately. We wanted to kind of step back and make sure that we knew all of our options, all the, consequences that comes along with chemotherapy,
Yeah.
all that good stuff. We did end up doing some chemotherapy, which was, as I want to point out to, people in the alternative, holistic, whatever you want to call this wonderful community of ours.
Yeah.
Sometimes necessary.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I'm sure there is something natural that would have halted the tumor and shrunk it in the time that we needed, but whether we would have found what that magic combination of things
Yeah.
is in time, I don't know that.
Right.
But what we did do is everything we possibly could
Yeah.
at the same time. I mean, even before we got the diagnosis, and we kind of knew, just had that feeling.
Yeah.
We didn't even wait. I was paying. We probably paid $500 just in overnight shipping charges
Wow.
alone. Just
Wow.
getting everything that we needed for him, and we
Yeah.
didn't know. Obviously, we're not naturopathic doctors. We're not naturopathic oncologists. I highly recommend anyone going through cancer work with a naturopathic oncologist, especially when you're going through conventional treatment as well. But we just kind of always had the mindset that if we're doing 100 things for them that we think are, that sound like they're very beneficial, and maybe 2 of them are wash or even a negative for that matter.
Right.
We're still we're
Still
still
ahead.
coming out far ahead. So
Totally.
that's was our mentality, and
Yeah.
always has been our mentality, is just let's throw as much good at him as we
Yeah.
can, and
Yeah.
what, to the best of our knowledge, what that good is. And it's paid off. It's paid off.
Amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing, but yet it's not amazing because it's what our bodies need to function just at a healthy standpoint, never mind when you're going through something like cancer for anyone. So obviously nutrition was paramount. And so when you started ordering everything, did it include, equipment for juicing and subscriptions to the best organic produce in the country? I mean, what were some of the immediate things that you guys started doing to get on top of the cancer cells?
Yeah. So we, for him, and this is another thing that we really, really encourage parents, excuse me, to try the best to do with, excuse me, small children is we actually had a feeding tube
Oh,
placed in
wow.
Ryder. Not the kind you have to get the surgery for in your stomach, but just it's called an NG tube, nasogastric, and it just goes down the nose. And I say just, it is
Yeah.
it's not pleasant
Right.
for it wasn't pleasant for him while it was going in, but once it got in there, he didn't really mind. It got clogged every once in a while. We'd have to change it because we were trying to stuff so many supplements into there. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, so we got that, and that was actually an argument with the hospital in and of itself was just getting the feeding tube in, because, at first I saw all these kids walking around with feeding tubes, and I said, well, it's not going to be my kid. My kid doesn't need a feeding tube. But then when we started logistically thinking about how are we going to get all of these different, all the juice and supplements and all these meaningful quantities of good nutrition into them,
right.
It was like, oh my, that's what we need. But it's more of a reactive thing for them. They want well, he's eating just fine now. You haven't even had any chemotherapy. Why do you want the tube? And it's like, well, I want to keep him looking and feeling just fine.
Right.
And
right.
he did great through the treatment. I mean, it was obvious, you could tell that he was doing chemotherapy, but compared to most all the other kids we saw in there, he looked pretty good. So yeah, it was, we did a lot of juicing, and it just, we even worked out, agreements with local markets and such that carried organic produce, and they helped us out.
Awesome.
And it was great. And yeah, just that was really our MO was juice, a whole lot of vegetables. And then we were just researching constantly all these different supplements to give them, and that all just got mixed into the juice.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So did you have some battles on your hands in terms of this approach with the oncologists? Were they, not that they have any say, it's your son, you get to choose, but did you have some, traditional oncologists and a team of people that said, none of this matters, and, we just want to do this, and, that kind of an approach? Because I do hear that so often, and obviously with adults that are going through cancer, that any kind of natural therapy in their mind, alternative is either an issue or not important.
Yeah. And, that's why I recommend always working with a naturopathic oncologist, is because that's a naturopathic doctor that specializes in oncology. That in specific, that's what they study, is how do these things interact with traditional treatment? Is it going to protect from conventional treatment? Is it possibly going to have any deleterious effects? So yeah, we relied very heavily on their advice, and took the advice of people that don't study that for a living with a grain of salt.
Right.
Just, that's what we always say. You got to be you're kind of the CEO of your kid's health.
Yes, you are.
You don't have to have all of the answers yourself. You'll never have all the answers yourself, but it's your right and your responsibility to bring in all the different experts that you can to advise you on your final decision. So yeah, we just relied very heavily on our naturopathic oncologist advice in that department. And it turned out that we landed on one of the best in the country, which was just, we've had quite a few small or big miracles. And that was one of them.
Oh, that's awesome. So great. So tell me how you and your wife, how do you guys serve your community now? What's your, you've been through this journey, your son's doing great. I know you also have a little girl, so your family's grown. You live this, incredible lifestyle of health and well-being and being extremely proactive. How do you serve your community, and what are some of the things that you guys do to get this message out there?
Sure. Oh, and actually, before I forget, on the battles with the oncology team front, we actually did end up moving over the whole thing as well, because we wanted to find a team that really was more on board with everything we were doing. And so especially when you're going through cancer, there's really only one hospital that serves children with cancer per state. So we actually moved states. We did a bit of research and called around, and because that's, again, what we felt that we had to do for our kid. And, another blessing in disguise. Now we're here in Park City, and
beautiful
outdoorsman's paradise, which is really big for anyone, but especially people and kids going through cancer. So
yes.
worked out.
And I'm sure a culture and a community that is rich in resources for the way you guys live.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of very health minded. Actually, it's a lot of very outdoors activity minded people. We're still kind of on the extreme end of eating
Okay.
organic and avoiding environmental toxins. And I think that's, that's going to be true wherever you go. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but on, just on the what we do now front. So yeah, along the way, we started a website just kind of documenting our journey through childhood cancer. And that is My Kid Cures Cancer. And it really just, we started throwing up kind of everything we were doing for Ryder and all this research we were finding, just kind of hoping that it might help some parents find the research and the information a little easier than us. And over the last couple of years, it's grown into something pretty neat. We've got a lot of parents of children following us that are going through cancer, and a lot of parents of children that just don't want their kids to ever deal with that. Because
Right.
that's, I think sometimes people look at us, especially, people in our community that we know, our friends, that sort of thing, and they see us going to all these, what they consider great lengths to keep our kids healthy. I just, it's not really that big of a deal to me.
Right.
It's kind of normal.
Yeah.
But, I can kind of sense that's too bad for them that they have to do all this stuff for their kids.
Right.
But really for me, I mean, with cancer rates the way they are, it's 50-50 pretty much these days.
Totally.
And so, your kid doesn't have cancer now, but do you want him or her to have cancer when he's or she's 40 or 50 or 30 or 60? It's
Exactly.
because with the way everything's going, it's pretty much, if you're not really, really, really stacking the odds in your kid's favor, and what stacking the odds means is doing all, keeping them away from environmental toxins, keeping, not feeding them GMOs and pesticides, and using a whole bunch of EMF producing devices, Wi-Fi routers and cell phones and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Not having that be their upbringing, and also teaching them why it's important. So you're setting them up for, at least doing the best you can to set them up for a positive trajectory that's, they're going to lead to a lifetime of good health. And
Yes.
because I think that's what everyone wants for their kids.
Absolutely.
But it's not necessarily, I think that connection needs to be made a little more. I think it just, for whatever reason, it's something that people don't really think about.
Right. No, I agree with you. And the way that our society has evolved is that simple and easy and quick and convenient has taken precedent over what's healthy and good and nurturing. And it's, I work with tons of parents, and I always say it's not that the parents are bad or ill-meaning. They want what's best for their kids, but they're taking the shortest route because life's busy. And that doesn't always equate to good choices and good health.
Yeah, exactly. And on that note, once you kind of get into the groove and just start changing little things one at a time, doesn't have to be a big overnight overhaul. Although it pretty much, not that we were at 0% to start, but boy, once we got that diagnosis, it wasn't even overnight. It was, the next minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing man-made except for, the absolute essentials that we had in the hospital. And even then we were still kind of questioning and second guessing and refusing every secondary drug that was offered to us out, because then it's not just the chemotherapy, it's all the other stuff that comes along with it too, that you don't know for.
Yes.
But
yes.
That's also what we try to, get across to parents going through cancer, is there are a lot of natural things to do the same things that those drugs are doing. But
Right.
Sidetrack, just on the natural living front, you just change one thing at a time. And
Right.
you realize it's not that big of a deal. You get a dehydrator and start making healthy snacks, and realize that you saved a whole bunch of money and time from going to the grocery store, and you have the ability to make really tasty stuff that's honestly better than anything you could buy at the grocery store at will. And you get a whole big batch of it instead of a little tiny bag.
Yes.
And we've been on a trail mix kick lately, just making all sorts of different mixes. And we have huge bowls of it, not just a little bag you get at the store, and it's all sprouted almonds and organic dehydrated apples, and just it's all sorts of stuff, whatever you want to throw in there, pumpkin seeds. It's delicious.
Yeah. It's like once you get the systems in place, right? Like the tools, like you had to get the dehydrator, you've got the, I'm sure you have a high-end Vitamix, probably a couple or whatever,
I like Blendtec, but yeah.
But you know what? I do too. I've had my Blendtec for 5 years. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't have a Vitamix. That's funny. And so all these, higher end tools, then you're kind of like in a maintenance mode of just doing, and creating the snacks and the smoothies, and you've kind of got it all set up. And like you said, it's just a matter of, are you going to spend that time going to the grocery store, getting things with ingredients you can't pronounce? Or are you going to spend that time in your kitchen, spending time with your kids, which is invaluable, and creating, a week's worth of snacks and healthy options?
Yeah. No, and that's the beauty of it as well, is the kids get to be in on the whole process and help out with everything. And it's fun. And the other thing, just kind of an extension of that, is we always encourage people to really think about what you can apply to your child that you might not think of normally. Like you listen to a health podcast or watch a health summit like this, and you get a whole ton of great information, and it's all geared towards adults, and just you think of it in terms of, how can I apply this to my life? But that's kind of been our journey, is learning about all this cancer stuff and having to think this integrative, holistic cancer stuff, but all of it was in terms of adults, and thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but how do I apply this to my 1-year-old through almost 5-year-old now? But it kind of goes the same for just anyone, like we're talking about, wanting to live the healthiest life possible. You hear about having a positive mindset and starting your day with positive affirmations and all that sort of thing. And, and emotional healing and all that is the more you dig into cancer from a holistic, integrated point of view, the more you hear about that. And it was always, well, how do I bring that into the picture? But Ryder and now Channing, his sister, start their day. I get in there and wake them up, and I open the curtains, and we do our positive, ready to start the day. I'm healthy, vibrant, and thriving, and say yes a bunch of times, and do deep breathing exercises and all that. So it's it's everything you learn about, just everything from a holistic health perspective. Just start thinking, well, this isn't just for me. This is for my kid. We have workout time every day. You know what I mean? Ryder hits burpees. He does push-ups. We have a little mini trampoline. It's called rebounding in the, not even the alternative cancer space. It's kind of getting to be more of a mainstream thing, but it works the lymphatic system and get your blood going and all that good stuff. He does his 200 jumps a few times a day, and which I count really slowly, so it's more like 1,000. But
I love it. I just love what you're doing, Ryan. I could talk to you all day. I'm so inspired by your journey, and it's so tough that so many amazing people like you and your family have to go through something so devastating to champion this message. But I so appreciate you championing this message, because what you guys are doing now is going to prevent so many families from having the diagnosis that you have had, and really empower families to live a different way and, practice this lifestyle of fighting cancer every day, which we're doing every day. And, just making those choices and setting up a lifestyle that you guys have modeled so beautifully. So thank you so much. How can people find you, and what do you have? Is there anything coming out that the folks watching this summit can plug into and continue to learn and follow you guys?
Yeah, I appreciate that. The website's mykidcurescancer.com. So just, you can even just search My Kid Cures Cancer, and you'll find us pretty easily. A few things that we have brewing that are just about ready that we're really excited for. I actually just became full-time My Kid Cures Cancer. I've had a day job this whole time, getting up early and staying up late working on the website, but made the jump to have this what we do. So we do have a couple really cool things that's coming out very soon. One, if any parent that, is going through cancer happens to be watching this, very extensive, comprehensive, in a kind of integrative childhood cancer crash course. So that's kind of everything I know, everything I've learned boiled down into a very easy step-by-step kind of deal. That'll be out in the next couple of weeks. What is it right now? Mid-March. So maybe early April.
So coaching and working directly with families.
And we do work directly with families as well. Anyone going through cancer, or anyone that just wants to kind of get walked through just kind of the tips and tricks and hacks to make all this stuff work for their kids that want to take their kids' health to the next level. Yeah, we do work directly with families as well. Teddy, my wife, has been really getting bugged on Facebook and Instagram, and you can, we post a ton of cool stuff there to make a cookbook. That's finally happening, and it's not just going to be a everyday here's a bunch of recipes, although there are a ton of recipes in it, but it's also kind of a teaching you to fish as opposed to giving you the fish. So just there's a lot of explanation of here's how you can throw kind of anything together and make something really good out of it. So we're really looking forward to that.
Awesome. That's great. Yes.
Yeah. And then lastly, so we're actually in the process of building a home right now in Park City. And it's, a really big part of our, what we focused on is not just eating healthy and exercising and that sort of thing, but in avoiding environmental toxins.
Yes.
Just chemicals from cleaning products, chemicals that, could be even, or not even could be, really are coming from your house itself. If you're not actually paying attention to this stuff. So we're building a house from the ground up, but not everyone's going to go out and build a house from the ground up. So there's so much you can do in your own home that people just don't realize to avoid all this stuff.
Yes.
And so we actually are partnering with Robin Openshaw, known as Green Smoothie Girl. That's her website, to put on a we're not quite sure of the exact title of the event yet, but something along the lines of a toxic home transformation or healthy home makeover. Or we actually just put out a vote on our Facebook page the other day. So trying to
that's great.
What folks like the best, but yeah, it's going to be a big panel of health experts and building biologists and just everybody coming together to share everything that they do in their own personal homes, and even doing little video tours. It'll be really neat because you'll get to see.
That's so awesome. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. So you get to see inside their houses and everything. And it's going to be pretty special.
That's going to be really exciting, because I think people are really looking for how can they keep going and make some of these changes, and create an environment that they feel safe and healthy in.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all stuff that people are talking about. Right. People talk about using non-toxic cleaning products or personal care products, or avoiding EMFs or being mindful of the possibility of mold or getting an air filter and all this stuff. But to my knowledge, nobody's really brought it all together in one place. Water, the list goes on and on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what we're kind of trying to do for folks, is just bring it all together. Here's everything you can do to protect your family, and stack the odds in their favor, like we're talking about.
Yeah. I love that.
again, the as of the time we're recording this, the name and the website and all that are still getting put up, but you can go to mykidcurescancer.com
Okay.
and that will just sign up for the mailing list.
Right. Okay,
And
good.
I'm sure you won't have a problem finding it. We'll make sure of that.
Okay, good. Good. Gosh, Ryan, thank you so much for your time today. I know that you guys inspire people every single day. You've certainly inspired me. And I just thank you so much for sharing your story. And you're just doing the world a lot of good. And your sweet little guy rider is helping a lot of people not go down this path. So I just so appreciate what your family models and what you stand for. And thank you so much for being a part of the summit. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate the opportunity, Lisa, and thank you for doing what you're doing. Just everyone getting the word out is it's going to take a lot of us. So
yeah, it sure
yeah.
is. We have a lot of work to do, but I have a lot of hope too. So yes. So thank you so much, Ryan, and thanks for being flexible on the time.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good
All
one,
right.
Lisa.
Have a great weekend.
See ya.
Bye-bye.